Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Every place that you are situated today listening to the Life Signatures podcast, it would have been my wish that the whole wide world listens to these episodes, because I do believe that they are potent, and I do believe that there is information and inspiration and revelation that can actually help people a lot. But I've got to be realistic to the fact that only a fraction of the entire universe can have access to this and listen to this. But for those who are tuned on to this place, it is not by fluke. There is a reason as to why you and I are meeting on this episode. And I am sharing with you some nuggets, some principles about life, about purpose, about productivity, and about resilience. And we started mulling over the idea yesterday that with purpose pursuit, everyone can be an inventor. And I'm just going on the rabbit hole as you listen in. Today, let us continue. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
Yesterday we ended up the episode by saying the idea that invention is not a function of genius, right? It's not necessarily a function of big-brained people. And of course we had some big-brained people. But before the big brains, there was love, passion, purpose, and dedication to a particular cause. Then the genius just crowned it by making ways and inventing things and coming up with stuff. We emphasize the fact that you cannot find somebody who invented something in an area that they hated. That's just about it. That the common denominator of all the inventors we know, all of these people, all of these big hitters, is that they invented in the area of their passion. Henry Ford in the area of his passion, cars, okay? Einstein in the area of his passion, did he invent anyway? Whatever. But you get what I'm saying. All these big time hitters, when you talk about inventors, right? You easily look at people, And by the way, even contemporarily today, there are people who have invented stuff. Even in our day to day, in the startup world, it's littered, by the way, by very many inventions. Some of them you've never heard of them. It's littered by very many inventions today. Even myself, by the way, there's an invention that I have. It's just that it's not materialized yet. My point is that do not ever switch off the possibility of inventing because you think you're not a genius. It is not. You see, again, the idea of inventions, the second thing that I want to discuss today, because yesterday we discussed the fact that inventions is not a preserve of genius. But then the thing that I want us to discuss today, again, is that a big percentage of inventions were not intentional. That someone sat down and said, I am going to invent Apple. I'm going to invent the iPhone. I'm going to invent a podcasting studio. I'm going to invent a microphone. The inventions, for the most part, they were arbitrary. I don't know how I can put it. They were by the way. You know what Viktor E. Frankl said some years back in his book Man's Search for Meaning? He said something very powerful here, that for success, like happiness, cannot be pursued, it must ensue. And it only does so as the unintended side effect of one's dedication to a cause greater than oneself, or as a byproduct of one's surrender to a person other than oneself. He's talking about success, and I can just copy and paste this into inventions. That inventions, like happiness, cannot be pursued. They must ensue, and they only do so as the unintended side effect of one's dedication to a cause greater than oneself, or as a byproduct of one's surrender to a person other than oneself. So it becomes hard and difficult for us to sit down and say, I want to invent something. I want to invent something. Lord, what is it? What can I invent? I want to invent something. No. It's a side effect. It's actually an unintended side effect of you pursuing something else, something greater than yourself. Just case in point, as a writer, if you're a writer and you're listening, you will understand this. Especially if you're a fiction writer, you don't have your story in full. It develops as an unintended side effect. In fact, not just a fiction writer, all the writers. Some of you, your best sellers, you never sat down and say, this one is going to be my bestseller, I've got to write this. No, you are just going on doing your own stuff, and then an idea dropped into your mind and say, let me just pull this string a little bit, let me just write something about it. And you started writing and you couldn't stop. It was unintended side effect. You're pursuing something greater, something else that's greater than life. That is what inventions are all about. Now the question is this, because we're discussing in the episodes, we're saying that anyone who is in the pursuit of purpose potentially can become an inventor. You see why I'm saying that? I'm saying that because we normally think that success or inventions are a reserve of a few geniuses in the world. But us, in all our capacities as human beings, each and every one of us, we have the potential to bring out something that this world has never seen. And it comes as the unintended side effect of our pursuit. The only thing that we've got to be doing is to find ourselves something greater than ourselves that we can dedicate our lives to. And before we know it, the inventions come. So the inventions are not necessarily the crown of life, so to speak. The inventions are byproducts of something else. The byproducts of our pursuits. So if we find that, if you look at your life, there's a time I talked on these episodes about an ideas book. If you found in your life that you have no ideas, you've written down and so on, chances are that you are not on your pursuit of purpose. Chances are that all we are doing in life is to live and survive so that we can pay bills. You will never see a lion inventing. You will never see a rabbit inventing. The only species on the face of the earth that have been given the opportunity and the privilege to invent, they are the humans, because they are the only species who are aware about their purpose. They are aware that I am here in this world for one reason or another. And the human is the only species that become unsettled when they are not on their purpose, when they are not on the journey of their purpose, they're the only species that are unsettled. You don't find a rabbit unsettled because, oh Lord, why am I here? No, you don't find a fish unsettled. You don't find a bird unsettled. Why am I here, Lord? Why am I seated on this tree singing? No. It is only the human who has to go and look for some things to do to fill the void. And the void of the human can only be filled by two things. One, God. Two, purpose. I tell you, that's the summary of humanity. That's it. Because the other things that we try to do, the momentary, fleeting happiness and joy that comes out of, that's why we have invented very many ways of pleasing our flesh. Solomon said, I tried to avail all the pleasures of this world to myself. I tried as much as possible to avail all of those pleasures to me. And I can tell you one thing, life is meaningless. You see, pleasure has got to be a byproduct. It cannot be the priority. So we've invented very many ideas or very many things that we try to do that can give us a high, a momentary high. And so you have a high at night in the night escapade, and you wake up in the morning with an insurmountable regret and emptiness. And you know what you do? You swallow some drinks and some drugs to take care of the emptiness. Why? Because you are not on the path of purpose. And as long as we are not on the path of purpose, we will think the inventors are the only few guys who are geniuses. But I will tell you, the inventors are the guys who have separated themselves and have found some passion, something that they're passionate about, and they have followed that passion to the core, and they have found some purpose, and the unintended side effect of dedicating themselves on that particular cause becomes their inventions. All of them. Nikola Tesla never set out and, let me discover this. The lady who discovered Wi-Fi, she never set out and say, let me discover this. There was something that they were doing. The unintended side effect of dedicating one's life to a cause higher than themselves, or to a person higher than themselves. And we become inventors that way. So, the advice that I'm going to give me and you and all of us, especially those of us who have children, those of us who are parents, just look at your kids as possible inventors, right? And put them on the path of purpose, and leave the invention as a by the way is going to come. The most important thing we should do is to set our feet on the path of purpose. Tomorrow we might continue with this. Until then, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.